You know that feeling when you walk into Walmart, you grab a cart, you're relaxed, you've got your list, and then you start putting things in. Ground beef, eggs, coffee, bread, and by the time you reach the checkout, you're staring at a number that just doesn't make sense. $160 for like 2 bags. And you stand there thinking, did I accidentally buy a diamond? Because this is Walmart. This is supposed to be the cheap place. This is the store that built its entire reputation, its entire identity on 3 words: everyday low prices. So what happened? Here's the thing. That question, what happened, turns out to have a very specific answer, and it's not the one they want you to believe. Let me take you back to 2020. The pandemic hits, everything goes sideways. Supply chains break down, prices start climbing. And Walmart, like every other big retailer, says, hey, our costs went up too. We're just passing it along to the customer. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. Costs go up, prices go up. Basic economics. But then something interesting happens. The supply chains recover, costs start coming back down, and the prices don't. Actually, they keep climbing. And that's when the Federal Trade Commission decided to take a look. What they found was not pretty. The FTC released a report, and it essentially accused Walmart, Kroger, and other large grocery chains of using the pandemic as cover, not just to protect themselves from higher costs, but to actually boost their profits. Their exact words? That these dominant firms used this moment to come out ahead at the expense of their competitors and the communities they serve. Let that sink in for a second. A government agency, not some conspiracy blog, not a TikTok video, an actual federal commission said these companies exploited a global crisis to make more money. And the numbers back it up. Walmart's net income in late 2023, $10.5 billion. That's not revenue, that's profit, net, after expenses. And what did they do with it? They handed nearly $6 billion back to shareholders through buybacks and dividends. So while you were standing in that checkout line doing mental math on whether you could afford both ground beef and pasta this week, Walmart was swimming in profit and writing billion-dollar checks to investors. Robert Reich, former U.S. Secretary of Labor, put it bluntly. He posted about Walmart's great value brand price hikes and said, when I say price gouging is driving inflation, this is what I mean. Not exactly gentle language, and he's not alone. Wait, it gets worse. Because it's not just about prices going up, there's also what's going down, the amount of stuff actually inside the package. This is called shrinkflation, and it's sneaky in a way that price hikes aren't. See, when prices go up, you notice, you feel it, you complain about it at dinner. But when the box of cereal quietly goes from 18 ounces to 15 ounces and the price stays the same, most people don't catch that. NPR actually tracked this. They went through aisle by aisle at a Walmart store, tracked 114 items over time, and what they found was a pattern that went way beyond just inflation. Tide laundry detergent used to be 100 ounces, then 92, then 84, then 80. Same price on the label, fewer loads of laundry in the bottle. And when Procter & Gamble was asked about it, they said the product had received meaningful upgrades and offered superior cleaning performance in a smaller dose. I'm gonna let you decide how you feel about that answer. Now here's where things get uncomfortable, because that's not even the most controversial thing Walmart is doing right now. There's something happening in Walmart stores across America as we speak. Something that most shoppers walk right past and don't even notice. Those little price tags on the shelves, the paper ones you've seen your entire life, they're being replaced. Walmart has already installed what are called digital shelf labels, or DSLs, in over 2,300 stores. And as of right now, the plan is to have them in every single Walmart location across the United States by the end of 2026. Every single store. These are small electronic screens connected wirelessly to a central system, and the key thing, the thing that should make your ears perk up, is that prices on these screens can be changed in seconds across thousands of products with just a few clicks. No more sending employees down the aisles with paper tags, no more 2-day process to update prices. Now, you go to the store at 9 a.m., the ground beef is $5.99 a pound. You come back at 6 p.m., peak shopping hour, and it's $6.79. That is what's called dynamic pricing, surge pricing, the same system that makes your Uber ride cost double when it's raining. And it's potentially coming to your grocery cart. Now, to be fair, Walmart has said repeatedly that they are not using these labels for surge pricing. Their exact words, "Prices are the same for all customers in any given store and are consistent regardless of demand, time of day, or who is shopping." Okay, fine, take them at their word. But here's the problem. Walmart also quietly filed a patent with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for an AI system that can update item prices across their e-commerce platforms dynamically and automatically. They say it's about e-commerce, not physical stores. They say the shelf labels are just for efficiency. But Carol Speakerman said something that stuck with me. She wrote, "Here's the reality. There are no technical safeguards preventing surge pricing or other forms of price manipulation. The capability exists. The capability exists." And economists from Whittier College pointed out something even simpler. The cost of installing digital pricing systems across thousands of stores only makes sense if the company believes, at some level, that it will increase profits. You don't spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a system just to make employees' lives easier. And the government knows it. Senator Ben Ray Lujan introduced something called the Stop Price Gouging in Grocery Stores Act. It would actually ban digital shelf labels in any grocery store larger than 10,000 square feet. A typical Walmart supercenter, about 180,000 square feet. Housewoman Val Hoyle, who's sponsoring the House version of the legislation, said something that pretty much sums up where this is heading. Without proper regulations, it is not so hard to see corporations using the loopholes to raise prices on consumers. The idea exists. It is only a matter of time before a billionaire in a boardroom implements the idea.
Several states are already moving. New York passed the Algorithmic Pricing Disclosure Act. Pennsylvania introduced legislation to ban dynamic pricing outright. But these bills take time, and in the meantime, the screens are already going up. But here's the scary part, and this goes deeper than dynamic pricing. These digital labels aren't just about updating prices faster. They're connected to systems, central systems, systems that can track what's selling, when it's selling, who's in the store. And some consumer advocates have raised a concern that should make you genuinely uncomfortable. Surveillance pricing. That's when a store uses personal data, your location, your browsing history, your purchase patterns, to set prices specifically for you. Think about that for a second. Imagine walking into Walmart and the price you see on the screen is not the same price the person standing next to you sees. Because the system knows you bought ground beef every single week for 3 years. It knows you're not going to put it back, so it charges you a little more. Now, nobody is saying this is happening right now, not yet, but the FTC has already begun examining data-driven pricing models and their potential impact on consumers. Because the technology to do this, it exists today. And the systems are being installed right now. Let me bring it back to something concrete, something that already happened, not theoretical. In 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed against Walmart. The allegation? That Walmart was overcharging customers on sold-by-weight products, meat, seafood, bagged citrus fruit. The lawsuit said that items labeled with a rollback sticker, supposed to mean the price was reduced, were actually being charged at a higher per-pound rate than what the label showed. In other words, the sticker said one thing, the scale said another. Walmart denied any wrongdoing, but they agreed to pay $45 million to settle the case. $45 million. If you bought certain meat, seafood, or bagged citrus fruit from Walmart between October 2018 and January 2024, you were potentially overcharged, and you could have filed a claim. That settlement is done now, but the question it raises isn't. How many times did this happen before someone noticed? How many people paid more than they should have and never knew? And look, I want to be honest about something here, because this story isn't black and white. Walmart is not the villain in every chapter. Some of what's happened with prices is genuinely not their fault. Ground beef is expensive because the U.S. cattle supply is at its lowest in decades. Droughts destroyed grazing land. There just aren't as many cows. Coffee prices shot up because of climate change, erratic rainfall, floods, droughts destroying crops in Brazil and Vietnam. Cacao, chocolate, has had 3 straight years of bad harvests in West Africa. These are real, these are happening, and they genuinely do push prices up. But, and this is the critical part, real cost pressures don't explain a 93% spike in net income. They don't explain profit margins growing from 5.6% in 2015 to 7% by 2023. They don't explain using a global crisis to pay shareholders billions while customers struggle to afford the basics. The costs were real, but so was the opportunity, and the data shows they took it. So where does this leave us? Here's something I want you to actually think about, not just nod along to. Walmart has built an empire on one promise: everyday low prices. That's not just a slogan, it's a social contract. It's the reason Walmart became the largest retailer in human history. It's the reason hundreds of millions of families living paycheck to paycheck, chose Walmart over every other option. Because they trusted it. And trust is a strange thing. It's incredibly hard to build, and it disappears fast. When you find out the meat you bought was weighed heavier than the label showed, when your detergent bottle quietly shrinks but the price doesn't, when profit soars while your grocery bill does the same, something shifts. And now those paper price tags, those little pieces of cardboard you've trusted for decades, are being replaced by digital screens that can change the number while you're still in the store. Here's my honest take. I don't think Walmart is uniquely evil. I really don't. Kroger is doing the same thing. Amazon, Target, the whole system operates this way. But Walmart is the biggest player in the room, and when the biggest player in the room decides profit comes before the promise, the whole room changes. The people most affected by this aren't wealthy. They don't have a lot of choices. They shop at Walmart because they have to, and that is exactly why this matters. Because a store that extracts maximum profit from the people with the least power to push back, that's not just a business story, that's a moral one. I'll leave you with this. Next time you walk into Walmart or any big grocery store and you feel that quiet discomfort at the checkout line, that sense that something doesn't add up, you're not imagining it. You're not bad at math. You're not being dramatic. The numbers are real. The profits are real. The settlement was real. The screens going up on those shelves right now, they're real. The question is, what do we do about it? That's not a rhetorical question. Legislation is being written right now. State laws are being passed, and the only thing that actually moves companies like this, the only thing that ever has, is when enough people start paying attention. So, pay attention. If this opened your eyes at all, share it, because there are people in your life who are feeling exactly what you felt at that checkout line, and they deserve to know why. And I'll see you in the next one.